order, please. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Oh, that's, yeah. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby? Here. Councilmember Page?
Here.
Councilmember Wassinger? Here. Councilmember O'Meara?
Here.
Councilmember Dolan?
Here.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Here.
Councilmember Harder?
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Move for the approval of adjourning the meeting of October 13th, 2015.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. The journal is approved. We have no bid openings this evening, so we will move to communication.
Mr. Chair, there are no tax compromises, zoning matters, or road and bridge matters this evening, so we'll move to other communications. Under other communications, item number 1, all districts.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 2.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation. The same motion for item number 3, and that will be the order.
Item number 4, 6th district.
Receive, file, and a deposit agreement and the subdivision Plat B approved as recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Item number 5.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and that will be the order.
Item number 6, 2nd, 5th, and 7th districts.
Receive, file, and contract for a total amount not to exceed $1,044,842.66 be approved with Krupp Construction Company, the lowest responsive bidder, as recommended, and authorizing the Director of Transportation and Public Works to make revisions to the existing traffic control devices and to handle flow as required.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Item number 7, 4th district.
Receive, file, and a change order in the amount of $37,126.86 to an existing contract with Gershenson Construction Company, Inc. be approved as recommended.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Item number 8, 6th district.
Receive, file, and a county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 9.
Receive, file, and the appointment be approved as requested effective October 22nd, 2015.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Please read the add-ons.
Yes, sir. Item number 1, 4th district.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 2, 4th district.
Receive and file.
So ordered. County executive, report this evening.
Nothing further this evening.
There are no reports of special committees this evening, so we will move to public forum. And how many do we have speakers?
We have 39 speakers, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, before we go to the speakers, I'd like to show some slides here. These are rental properties that we are talking about, and people are currently tenants of these properties, and 2 of these properties are actually opponents that have come up here and spoke and said that their properties are up to code and up to standards, and they don't have any problems. And I've omitted the names. I'm not here to embarrass anybody, but I'm just showing you, this was just taken as of last week. And we'll just run through these. These will be real short. One of the homes didn't even have gas or electric in it. They were growing a marijuana plant in the family room. Didn't have trash service, so we decided to throw it in the neighbor's backyard and side yard. And we come up here and speak against this bill, saying my properties are fine. And is that the second go-around?
It's starting again now.
We'll just run through it one more time in case you didn't see some.
See it, Mike?
They got them.
Oh, up there, okay.
Oh, are you gonna see it again?
County-owned properties. Trustee properties.
All right.
Anybody speaks out of context, you're gonna be thrown out of here. One word. Yeah, these are real livable conditions that we're dealing with. Yeah. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Jen, appreciate you.
You're welcome, sir.
That was through our problem property units. That was a day and a half of work. That wasn't even addressing more than we should have put on there. We had over 90 slides and we just condensed it just for time purposes. So, thank you.
Speaking of time purposes, generally the public forum is limited to 30 minutes, but obviously we have 39 speakers, so tonight we will keep the comments to 2 minutes. And when your name is called, you can come up and Jen will call the second name. We've done this in the past. This is not the first time that's been done, so.
Okay, first speaker this evening will be Nick Kassoff, followed by Joanne Raish.
And when you approach us, if you would please give us your name and address, please.
My name is Nick Kassoff, and my address is 125 Royal Avenue in Ferguson. Oh, wait a minute, you're going to start the time when I'm saying my name? Unbelievable. The history books say that Jim Crow laws went away in the 1960s. Those of us who live in Ferguson know that when the white power structure is threatened, they find sly ways to continue their domination. The landlord licensing bill that you're considering tonight is nothing less than an effort by Mr. O'Mara to impose a new Jim Crow law on the black residents of St. Louis County. This draconian law would require that a landlord evict a family for a single felony marijuana possession charge. Imagine that. Your teenage son is caught with $100 worth of marijuana, and in a month your family is homeless. That's Jim Crow O'Mara's plan for neighborhood stabilization. And these potheads, which Mr. O'Mara is chasing out of the unincorporated areas, will have to live somewhere. I hear the Graham Road area of Florissant is nice, with affordable homes and great neighbors. This law will require a national criminal background check on every occupant of a home, which is going to add about $50 to an application fee or a full day's wages for the working class people that live in North County. Landlords also have to plan for the cost of these evictions, which are going to be tremendous. Now, we do have problems in unincorporated areas. Slack enforcement of standards by the county, which we see here, put those slumlords in jail. Serious neglect of county trustee properties, both in the municipalities and the unincorporated areas, are all problems. Now, as a resident of Ferguson, I'm keenly interested in solving the problems of North County. But capitulation to segregation and discrimination will not improve our situation. Jim Crow isn't a solution, it's the root of our problems. Mr. O'Mara wants to clean up North County with dogs and fire hoses. We think brooms and mops would be a better way.
Joanne, and I may be saying the last name wrong, I apologize, and followed by Alan Liederbrand.
Good evening, members of the St. Louis County Council. I am grateful that as a citizen of this county, the opportunity to address this body is still in effect. The fact that citizen voices are ignored has been proven by the fact that when these same voices speak in opposition to many laws considered here, this council proceeds to pass such laws as though no one spoke against them. While arguments for a TIF are that it will bring business to a community, it costs the citizens therein to support that entity. The winner here is the business, and we citizens are the losers. This has been called corporate welfare, and that term speaks volumes about the results. Of such action, I am opposed to the proposed TIF that this council wishes to inflict upon the Afton community, which, as you well know, in election campaigns, has a high volume of seniors. Additionally, I join the voices in opposition to the licensing code. Others have offered their research thoughts to you, and I need not repeat that. I am here to remind you that you were elected and then took an oath to represent those who put you in these offices. Sadly, we do not see proof of such responsibility emanating from you. We are grateful to Mrs. Irby, Mrs. Wassinger, Mr. Hardy, and Mr. O'Leary, who heard the wishes of constituents in regard to the licensing code. To say that we were disappointed that political pressure caused Mr. O'Leary to change his
2
vote
minutes, Mr. Chair.
is not a
Thank you.
strong enough
Thank you,
word.
ma'am.
Next
When I
speaker is
remember my
Alan-
friend,
Ma'am, your time's up. Thank you.
excuse me, may I just say this one thing? When I remember my friend Helen, I believe that she is also disappointed. Thank you for hearing my petitions.
Next speaker is Alan Liederbrand, followed by Jennifer Krupp.
My name is Alan Liederbrand. I live at 3918 Jacinto Drive in Lime. First is, I still see that it's still on the agenda, a resolution to steal money from kids and firefighters and give it as corporate welfare to businesses who really don't need it. If it was a good business plan, they don't need the money. So quit trying to steal money from children. Second, on this substitute bill number 3 for 204, it's still a bad bill. I don't know, one thing is I never heard is, why is the Director of Transportation is going to help Public Works? Are we going to have so many evictions, we need Transportation Department to help move the people? The classification of all properties in single-family units in unincorporated St. Louis County is now classified as rental properties, which leads me to concern with 825.200 number 5 about having to get an occupancy, a license to get an exemption for my kids or my grandkids or my parents or a brother or sister who wants to live with me. This language is so vague, it needs to be thrown out and just killed. And plus, this part about the penalties, it still states up to $1,000 a day and a year in prison per day for violation. Is this just another way for this county council to steal people's property instead of using eminent domain? You can just rack up the charges on them and then just take their property? Please, enough of this nonsense. Please vote no. Thank you.
Jennifer Krupp, followed by Kathy Babis.
Good evening, my name is Jennifer Krupp. I live at 410 Jailing in Ferguson. I ask tonight, I know you've done hard work, you've read all these bills, and I ask simply that on behalf of those who are going to speak and on behalf of those who have come and are not speaking, that you listen to everyone who's come and is saying, we don't like this, we don't want this, and if necessary, go back to the drawing board. But please, do not vote yes, vote no, go back to the drawing board, do not pass this bill. Thank you.
Next speaker is Kathy Babis, followed by Jennifer Byrd.
I'm Kathy Babis. I live on Cantwell Drive in Afton, Missouri. I own 6 county properties. This bill stinks. Your silly slideshow was ridiculous. One of the problems is this only applies to 4-family or properties or less. Who paid you off to exclude the large apartment complexes, which now the criminals will move into and do all their same illegal activities such as prostitution, gun violence, and lots of kids live in those. Great job. It also requires landlords to know what goes inside a dwelling. We're not really allowed to go in there. We're not their parents, we're their landlords. And please define what drug paraphernalia precursors are. Maybe a glass of milk, because 100% of all heroin addicts started out on milk. It's not defined. Our standard lease and rental agreements already include similar language permitting all the activities that you hope to get rid of with this bill. It also requires the landlords to evict only the occupant that's a trouble. You are not landlords. You don't know. You can't evict one person, and it takes months. And how many renters, the innocent single mom with the rest of her kids who has to go and try to find another place, how are they going to find another place to rent when they're evicted for cause? That's not going to happen. Innocent victims, that's what you're creating. It also does not address what happens to other properties, my other properties, when, for some reason, my license is suspended or revoked for a single property. The bill allows a single bad tenant to place my entire livelihood in jeopardy, even though I did my due diligence prior to renting. If this bill passes, I am sad that you will need to spend tax dollars that I have paid in good faith to defend yourselves against a class action lawsuit that will surely be filed and that you will likely lose. With Halloween coming up, this is a massive trick by the council members in support of this bill to provide a treat for the county in the form of license fees and another level, put a stake in it.
Jennifer Byrd, followed by Linda Vardell.
Jennifer Byrd, 9244 Laurel Hill Drive. I'm so disgusted that we're still dealing with this. This is childish. This is like a 2-year-old temper tantrum, pitching a fit. By God, come hell or high water, we're going to pass this bill. It's absolutely ridiculous. Stubborn, obstinate, these are words that come to mind. And then, of course, I've heard this phrase before in front of this council, arrogant contempt for the will of the people. I have yet to hear a single person that supports this bill. It's disgusting and it's pathetic. And I loved Mr. Kassoff's comments, specifically the Jim Crow O'Mara law. I think that that's very fitting. Exempting people who are 5 units and larger, what are you trying to corral people by circumstance into those larger units so you can keep a better track of them? Or are you trying to drive people from the county? Evicting one person out of a home, I think that's what the counselor basically said we could do last week. Outrageous. Put a stop to this. Vote no, because I'd like to know, can we sue you personally to recoup the money that we're going to have to pay when we get sued as a county for this ridiculous law? That's my big question. On another note, I still am opposed to giving $3.25 million in TIF money for the Afton Plaza. No risk, no reward. So business, if it's a great venture, people will put their money into it and do it on their own. I'm absolutely opposed to taking money from firefighters and from students and children from our schools by giving TIF money. I think that's wrong. Thank you.
Next speaker is Linda Vardell. Linda Vardell will be followed by Jim Heiser.
Just as far as the TIF is concerned, there's a resolution to form a TIF committee. There hasn't been one yet. There has been no TIF vote by the TIF commission. And there are representatives from the school district and the fire board on the TIF commission. So just be aware of that. So it's actually hasn't even happened yet. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Vardell, and I live at 992 Kenstern. I just want to go on record that I oppose this bill. It's wrong. It's not fair to the landlords. We try to do the best we can to provide good housing for the people. So I'm already going to be cut half of my pension, and now I'm going to be working with rental property that's I'm going to have to do a license and be like a mother to the renters. Thank you.
Next speaker is Jim Heiser, followed by Larry Dees.
I'm Jim Heiser. I live at 32 Lincord, South County. I'm president of the St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. We're a non-for-profit group, been around forever. There's some other major groups here in St. Louis, too. We had 125 people at our meeting Friday night. They saw this bill. And we have a lot of middle-class families, a lot of young people trying to start out in real estate. A lot of them have one property, maybe two. And this, ultimately, I know we're going to be paying money. You say there's no cost here, but this is just the segue to having to pay a fee because it doesn't come free. Somebody's got to enforce this. I've heard that my understanding is St. Louis County has hired college kids to survey properties, and one of my properties in South County got a notice for some rust 1 inch high on the bottom of a garage door. I got a pink slip on that. So I don't know, again, what's happening in North County. I wish you would have showed them, everybody, my properties, along with the ones that were up there. I don't have problems with them. They run from $100,000 to $200,000 to $250,000, and I take care of them. And the people in St. Louis County, they come through, and I just don't understand why you don't go after those particular landlords. If those are the ones that are causing you a problem, go after them. We want the same thing you do. I don't want to have a property like that next to my property because it devalues my property. But you have laws on the books now. Let's take care of them. It's just abomination. So anyway, all my people say no to this, and we're going to, unfortunately, if this goes to a lawsuit, I mean, we'll be asking our people to all pitch in, and on the government side, you guys will be spending our money to try to fight this back. So I think ultimately it's going to be a long, drawn-out battle, but we do have precedents in other states that we've been told on this, and I think it's just a matter of time. Again, we want the same thing you want.
Larry Dees will be followed by Willie Jordan.
Thank you. I'm Larry Dees, 9500 Echo Lane, Overland. I'm against the law. I think it's way too vague, and I just don't think that we need that thing. We've got the reoccupancy permits already have the phone number and the owner on them. So why do we need a license, which is more information that's not necessary? So I'm against it. I hope you guys will consider not keeping it going because we don't need it. Now, the gentleman that's sponsored this bill, I think most of his properties are in maybe Florissant, which already has laws, but we don't like it. We don't need it. Please vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Willie Jordan, followed by David Townsend.
Council, my name is Willie Jordan. I am at 10226 Castle Drive, unincorporated St. Louis County. Once again, I want to thank the council for attempting to deal with bad landlords. They are also an issue for our office. I don't know where this bill is going to play out in its practice. I think that this third revision that you've done is definitely a good attempt at making certain that on its face that the bill is not going against what HUD would like for us to see in the bill. So that's good. The real issue is going to come in how you apply this bill. I think that other people are going to come behind me and talk about some of the other issues with due process. So in your application of this bill, due process issues still have to be really of utmost importance. If a landlord or a tenant, to make certain from the beginning that they have the opportunity to know that if they get one of these notices that they probably need to get an attorney right away rather than waiting until the process has gone on. That's one of the things we found a problem in the city, is that when they don't have due process notice, that they show up and don't realize that they're about to possibly be evicted or not have any real say-so beyond when they show up the first time. So making certain that they have an opportunity when you talk with them, that they, let them know right away, get you an attorney, because you could lose your house. So I don't know which way the council's gonna go. I'm gonna trust that you guys are listening to everybody, that's what they're saying, but deal with the due process issue in its application if you go further than this today. I'm not gonna sit up here and think that my comments are gonna make you do something different than what you've already decided to do, but due process issues are really important. Thank you.
David Townsend, followed by Sandy White.
Hello, my name is David Townsend, and my residence is at 5925 Woodbrook Drive in St. Louis County. And I am a licensed realtor. I've been a realtor for 25 years and have practiced actively in St. Louis County. And this bill is not good for St. Louis County property owners. In my opinion, it appears that this really it shifts a burden. It shifts a burden of policing, and it shifts a burden of code enforcement onto property owners, who it's not their responsibility. I think we can be much more effective through a better police actions. The issues that we're addressing here, they're issues that police should be dealing with. Crime and issues with bad neighbors, that's issues for police. Issues with conditions of properties, as we looked at earlier, that's property code enforcement. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I think this is the wrong attempt, and I appreciate it if you would vote no on this bill. Thank you.
Speaker is Sandy White, followed by Abir Moten.
My name is Sandy White. My address is 741 Spring Garden Drive. I am here with a few other property owners who live in Glasgow Village. We believe that all property owners, including our owners and landlords who do not live in Glasgow Village, must be held accountable and responsible for their property. We support and thank Councilmember O'Meara for Bill 204. Thank you.
Next speaker is Abir Moten, followed by Matthew Chase.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abir Moten, and I am the founder of Global Bridge to the Future Fusion for Life Foundation. First of all, I want to say we the people pray that God will be converting those of you whose hearts are darkened with whose hearts have been darkened and violent and brutal hearts will be converted to beautiful and valuable. Oh, I twisted this around, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, this is written wrong. But I just hope, we all pray that you work for us. We all pray that you do good for us, okay? And what we're seeing is everyone's complaining to you. And we don't want you to work against us. We want you to work for us. And so we pray that we all get out of here one day with our, with resolutions, satisfactions, good deeds done for us. We, the homeless lives, reveal the power of God which shines through His holy grace. When we are homeless, that means you are a failure to us with complete negligence and human weakness. There hasn't been a resolution done for us homeless. All I got is I was filling out an application for a grant for the homeless, and I had to turn it into the Department of Human Services. They knew I was coming out because I went in the morning yesterday, and I had to turn it in before 5 o'clock. They arranged to have the police set up a little area to try to get me to go hit the police. Now, what they did is they went into my car, they dirtied my underwear and my bras and underwear, and then they went and they interfered with his phone and my phone so that I can be entrapped, hit a police car, and then they do things, so that I can go to jail, and then this proposal wouldn't go through. The Department of Human Services of St. Louis County and the Department of Health, the director of the Department of Health of St. Louis County is a complete corrupter. They are doing things to try to get me to get into debt, or maybe they want to cripple me, or they want to disable me. Let me tell you something. I am smart. I am smarter than anybody.
Your time's up. Thank you.
I am representing the homeless. I'm just saying that we are smart. Thank you very much. Take care and have a wonderful evening.
Next speaker is Matthew Chase, followed by Sandy Tashler.
I just have to take exception to a couple comments. The Human Services Department, as in the past, offered to assist the previous speaker on, with issues and have gone out of their way to try to help her. So, and at no time, to my knowledge or anybody else's, have they done anything to offend her or hurt her physically or emotionally. So that's, and so thank you. I'm sorry. You're up.
Thank you, council member. Members of the council, my name is Matthew Chase. I live at 936 Wild Cherry in University City. I am both an attorney for landlords, some large, some small, and I am also a small landlord myself. This bill is designed to discriminate. It is the very definition of discrimination in housing. One of the other gentlemen from Ferguson spoke eloquently about that, and I won't belabor that point other than to say that it is an absolute certainty that landlords would both have to vet people through discriminatory measures that are utterly unconstitutional and forbidden by federal law. And they will have to immediately evict. The larger landlords of mine, the moment they get a notice, will absolutely have to immediately institute eviction proceedings. There's not going to be any try to settle it. The county said you've got a felon in your house, you're gone. Now, for the smaller landlords like myself, that's going to result in an immediate cessation of rent-paying tenants. I own 12 properties. Right now it's in the red. I'm working very hard to get it in the black. Now, some of those pictures, that was a fantastic picture show you had, Mr. O'Mara. Some of those pictures, we don't know what condition those are in. We don't know what stage they are in. My clients, some of them buy large groups of properties. It takes them, compared to some of the other landlords in town, it takes them a shorter amount of time, and they spend, one of my clients, which manages close to 1,000 properties, spends on average $22,000 to bring a property up to code. Now, during that time, there might be a mess there. In fact, they buy it at a time when the prior foreclosed upon owner is still living there, and sometimes it's a mess. Sometimes they have to get back up to code. But the average time that a tenant is in a property is approximately 2 years. That means every 2 years, landlords, in particular the larger landlords, which you all want to go after the big bad capitalists. The fact is the larger landlords are turning over tenants every 2 years, sir. Homeowners, who are totally exempt from this bill, along with, as somebody else mentioned, the 5 or larger units, homeowners turn over on an average of 16 years. Landlords turn over on an average of 2 years.
Thank you.
My time is up. Thank you.
Sandy Kesher will be followed by Tony Pusosa.
Hi, I'm Sandy Tashler. Thank you for taking the time to hear us tonight. I'd like to speak to you as a actual homeowner who has concerns about my own personal property and the neighborhood and rental properties there. I have the same concerns that you and everyone else does. I'd also like to speak to you as a realtor and a landlord myself. We are just now starting to recover from the real estate market and all the travesty that went on there. The real offenders here, more than anybody else, are the foreclosures that are allowed to sit on the market for 4 years, and not even on the market, just sit there for 4 years, getting worse and worse every day. The neighbors having to cut the lawn, do everything they can do over there because there's still trash and filth in those houses, and the rats are coming over to their house. They want to sell their house, they want to move on. They can't because they're stuck next to this garbage. I do want to remind you all that the little bit of appreciation and market rally that we're having right now, we would not have if the investors had not stepped forward and bought the majority of these vacant, distressed properties. And the other important fact that I have to say to you is, by passing this bill, you're going to drive a lot of the good landlords out, and you're going to, even your own personal properties, are going to lose their value because we're going to go back to the distressed situation we just came out of. So I ask you to please, not only for us, but for yourself to consider this. And I have to say, I've been a realtor for 23 years. I've worked with a large amount of investors. My investors do not have their properties in that condition. I think if we took a toll of everybody and all their properties, we would find way more that are in very good condition versus this type of thing. Thank you again for hearing me.
Next speaker is Tony Pusosa, followed by Adam Paul.
Good evening, council members. Tony Pizzosa, I live at 9700 Antigo Drive. The first issue I'd like to speak to is the Afton TIF. I know that you had mentioned the commission has not been formed yet, but again, it takes away from firefighters, and I know many of them supported your campaigns, and it also takes away from the children that live in the Afton School District. So I would encourage you, if you really care about the children, you will vote no, and let the business owners, if they can really, excuse me, if they could get it together for the children. The other issue is the rental property. Where is the fiscal note with this bill? What will be the cost? We already know, Counselor, that the cost will be high in legal fees. And we've heard others mention what the costs will be. But right here in your own agenda, you have a spot for special committees or maybe even a commission that could consist of tenants, landlords, council members, maybe the county executive, police officials, and problem properties officials to find real solutions that will help solve the problems. Councilman O'Meara, you showed a slideshow that proves my point that I've talked about last year and for the last 6 weeks, that the county is not enforcing the rules we already have on the books. I would like to thank the councilwomen, Wassinger and Irby and Councilman Harder, for standing with the people, because you were elected to represent the people and not the special interests. Councilman O'Leary, I know that 2 weeks ago you voted with your heart and you stood with the people, and I think that was very important. But then you were pressured by a select few to change your vote, and we're asking you to stand with the people once again as someone who challenged you in the last election.
Next speaker is Adam Paul, followed by Elizabeth Schmidt.
Hi, Adam Paul, Mayor of the City of Ellisville, 1194 Oak Hill Court, Ellisville, Missouri. I'm not here to discuss the landlord bill this evening. I am here to discuss my representation from District 7, Mr. Mark, actually lack thereof, of District 7, Mark Harder. 3 things. You guys coordinated a scheduled fire, or coordinated fire at the corner of one of the busiest intersections in my city and never mentioned a word to any of our city officials, our city chief, that this fire was going to take place. Granted, I think it's a great idea to train our firefighters, but I had numerous calls from our residents, and there was two accidents. We could have put it on our flashing electric signs. Next time I ask you to please just notify our city before you schedule fire training and light fires in the middle of rush hour. Secondly, I've had several residents that I have forwarded calls that have concerns and problems related to county infrastructure. One of them is an elderly gentleman. He's a veteran. He's not in good health. And it numerous times have come back and they said those complaints have fallen on deaf ears, or they are responded by your legislative assistant, Chris Howard, and it goes nowhere. So I'm asking for some sort of SLA or some sort of KPI to be put in place so you can address these concerns. I get calls all the time that their calls or their concerns are not being addressed. Chris Howard, that's another concern. How can Chris Howard serve as a paid $60,000 or $70,000 legislative assistant for the St. Louis County and be your campaign manager and campaign treasurer? I get so many calls when this, and I'm going to turn this in, about a fundraiser, which you put St. Louis County information on. This has gone to Elliott Davis, by the way, so good luck with that. How can you serve 2 masters? And I'm asking for Chris Howard's resignation. He worked for Jefferson City in his past, and I think we need to keep Jefferson City politics out of St. Louis County government. And I'm going to pass this out. This was an email that was sent to me and also CC'd to Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next speaker is Elizabeth Schmidt, followed by Renee Artman.
Good evening, County Council. My name is Elizabeth Schmidt, and I live at 48 Cathcart, and I'm a resident of Ellisville. And I wanted to follow up on some of the statements that the mayor made. Regarding the fire exercise, I received phone calls from 2 elderly people in my neighborhood who noticed the fire, or the smoke, and asked me to go check it out. And I flew down Manchester in my car with my cell phone in my hand. And when I arrived on the scene, it was very confusing. And it took me a few minutes to figure out that it was an exercise and not an actual fire before I phoned it in. I later learned, after I spoke with the mayor, that we were not alerted to this, that our city did not know, that our chief did not know. And I'm glad that I saw it for myself before I phoned it in. But it would be wise of you in the future to consider the people who live in the area when this kind of exercise is done. And also, I have heard myself people complain regarding a lack of response from your office regarding issues. We call the county for so very little because we are an incorporated city. So the few times that we do call, we would like a response from your office. I appreciate your stance on the landlord bill, I really do. As a resident of Ellisville, I would warn you all against the use of tax increment financing. We fought quite a battle in Ellisville over this very issue, and our city is better for it. And our city is now the place where small business comes to do business because people feel comfortable that they have a level playing field, and that's important for any business person. Thank you.
Next speaker is Renee Artman, followed by Tom Lombard.
Good evening. My name is Renee Artman, 1530 Winter Chase, Fenton, Missouri. Good evening, Mr. Stanger, member of St. Louis County Council, and the voters. Thank you for allowing me to make a brief statement this evening. We are again here speaking about Bill 204 that failed, and another substitute bill is being presented this evening that was published at the last possible minute at last week's meeting. Citizen after citizen, the voters and the taxpayers have taken time out of their daily routine to come here and declare their displeasure with the bill, but some of you insist on ramrodding it down the citizens' throats. Mr. O'Leary, you gave me a bit of hope when you actually listened to the voters and did not support Bill 204. However, rumor has it that Chicago-style politics have strong-armed you, and you will be now supporting the bill against the will of all your voters. My question to the council members who support this bill of 204 is why? What is in it for you, and how will you profit from the passage? The appearance that you as St. Louis County Council is one that, one, you do not care of what your voters think because you all believe that you are smarter than the collective group, and two, as promised when Mr. Stinger was elected, there would be more transparency. This couldn't be farther from the truth. Remember, elections have consequences, and we, the voters of St. Louis County, are determined to do our best to listen to you at election time the way you listen to us over severe issues. Your lack of transparency has resulted in the voters having a complete lack of confidence in St. Louis County government. We will strive to be heard loud and clear when we cast our votes at your next election. Thank you.
Followed by Zach Schmuck.
Hello, my family lives at 1075 St. Anthony in Florissant, and I'm going to make a comment that I was saving for last. These small landlords, a lot of them I know are like me. We buy a house to fix it up. We jump through all the city's hoops, the city code, all that. We do it for a second job, a part-time job. No one buys a house and fixes it up and rents it and gets rich, but we are providing a service, a much needed, to provide decent housing at affordable prices for people. So we never seem to get any credit for that. That's the vast majority of small landlords. This seems to be a racist law proposed by Councilman Amar of Florissant, a city with a history of government racism, who admittedly is targeting the poor and black community of Glasgow Village. This law will make it harder for low-income people to find affordable housing. The people who have the ability to move will do so, and those that can't will be congregated in denser, poorer clusters. If this law passes, I guarantee the next house I buy will be in St. Charles County. If this law passes, I predict that St. Louis County will be held up to ridicule in the national media as backwards and regressive government. People who are evicted will not be able to rent another house, having been evicted or being evicted from their last home. Is the landlord going to rent a house to a person when it's a public record? They're either in the process of being evicted or they've just been evicted. No one wants to rent a house to those people. This is the son that's going to get evicted because he had some marijuana, and the mother, the grandmother, the father, the sisters, they're all going to be homeless, and they're not going to be able to even have a hard time to rent a place. I'm hoping that the county executive will have the wisdom not to sign this law. If it's passed, it'll surely lead to the county being sued and the needless waste of taxpayer time and money. And so I just hope that
Thank you, sir.
cooler heads will prevail.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Zach Schmook,
Can I
followed by
just
Rennie Hopping.
ask the county councilor, the remarks that somebody's smoking pot, they're gonna be arrested, that's not, could you clarify the?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The eviction process begins with a notice from the director of a felony conviction of an occupant in a residential rental property, with that felony conviction having occurred at the property and one of several enumerated felonies. So no, smoking pot is not going to get the son evicted.
Thank you.
Zach Schmoke with Metropolitan St. Louis Equal Housing and Opportunity Council. That said, while there are misdemeanor marijuana offenses, a relatively small amount of marijuana can lead to a felony conviction that would have all the impacts that have been said before here, including eviction of entire families for what we would think of as relatively minor offenses by teenagers. And that's what this bill does. It seems like it's something of a foregone conclusion that this bill is going to be passed, which is sad. We have a consensus here of landlord, of tenant advocates like myself, of other civil rights, fair, public interest attorneys telling you that this is a bad idea. And I think the saddest part about that is that you have squandered this consensus. We have a consensus that vacant properties are bad. We have consensus that there needs to be techniques to address dilapidated properties. We have consensus that this is not the way to do that. And I don't know how else to tell you guys that other than the way that we've already told you over the last 6 weeks. Really, I have spent the last 10 years of my life working with tenants in these dilapidated properties. And landlords who are the most problematic are not the landlords that you've heard from today. They are the landlords who are barely more wealthy than their tenants. And no matter the stick that you hit those landlords with, you're not going to create finances to allow them to develop. What these communities need is investment from the county, from private landlords to come in and actually build these properties up. What this ordinance does is use the threat of eviction, the threat of vacating properties, creating more vacant properties, to try on the fantasy that this will somehow inspire a landlord to make repairs that he has thus far completely ignored his legal obligations to make. It just is not going to work. This bill is a shortcut. It's a shortcut that attempts to circumvent the fact that we have properties that don't have the investment that's needed to repair them. Please vote no.
Next speaker is Rennie Hopping, followed by Mustafa Abdullah.
My name is Rennie Hopping. I live in St. Charles. I own property in the St. Louis County area, an unincorporated area, and I am asking for you to not approve this latest substitution to the bill. I actually got up here, signed up to speak, planning on commending Councilman O'Mara. I was shocked pleasantly by the changes that were made last week. I think that this new substitute is really, really close, but it's just not there yet. What is the most frustrating to me right now is there's such a sense of animosity, and it shouldn't be there. We're all on the same side. We all want the same thing. We want improved counties. We want our tenants to be able to have good places to live. The landlords want to be able to run their businesses so they can provide those. And I know that the 3 minutes got knocked down to 2, so my comments, it's going to sound like a list, and I apologize for that. I would still like to see in a new substitute or in a new bill being presented by a committee, the definition of rent. We still haven't clarified that, and I'm not sure that that has been resolved. Why limit the exemption to the second degree of consanguinity? We had several times teenage boys living with us in our home, not related to us, but because they were having trouble with their parents, they were having trouble in going down the wrong path, and they had no place to live. They lived with us, they followed our rules, and they got themselves straightened out. I don't know how this would even affect our ability to do that if this bill was in place. The legality of eviction due to the convictions, I'm still not sure that that's, the 10 days notice that we get is not enough. We just got one the other day, a notice on a violation. We received it the day that was the deadline, and the last thing I want to say is the $1,000 per day, that's prohibitive. That most landlords are lucky if they're clearing $200 a property. Thank you.
Speaker is Mustafa Abdullah, followed by Jeff Durham.
Good evening, Commissioners. So my name is Mustafa Abdullah, and I live at 5901 Del Mar Boulevard, apartment number 205, in the city of St. Louis, zip code 63112. So I am the program associate for the ACLU of Missouri. Basically, I do advocacy and organizing work for the organization. There have been a number of valid concerns that have been raised tonight. There are just three during my time that I want to highlight very briefly. Number one, provisions requiring eviction of those convicted of felonies, I think will have a serious impact on family structures and will increase homelessness. Number two, punishing families for the crimes of a single member is unfair and it potentially puts the child at risk. And number three, the required eviction provisions will have a disparate impact on communities of color. And the commission has a duty to study the bill and have it fully vetted by the public before they pass it. So I appreciate this time, but I think there needs to be more time and more engagement from the community, and input from the community needs to be heard. So in conclusion, the ACLU is very concerned with the legislation, and that will have further impact or greater impact upon those who are just exiting getting out of the criminal justice system, those who are returning citizens who are trying to get their lives back together. But especially for those persons who are people of color, tend to be most impacted by policies like these. So I know that our organization will be watching the vote, and if it passes, we'll be watching the implementation very closely. Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Jeff Durham, followed by Brian Wirtz.
My name is Evan Barnett of Trailside Court, speaking on behalf of Jeff Durham and the landlord regarding unfinished business, item number 1 in the 6th District. Going for an amendment to the zoning regarding a 2-tenant building on Telegraph. We represent the landlord as well as the tenant. The landlord owns this property as well as 2 other southern adjacent properties in A-class manner, national tenants. The use is that we're trying to get included in the C8 zoning is body art, and we believe that the way that it's written today is a bit antiquated, and that the potential tenant is an upstanding individual who is local to St. Louis County. Us and the landlord are very confident that the business will be run in a first-class manner, and we just wanted to appear here today and let you guys know that we are in support of approving the amendment and hope that you guys will agree to do so. Thank you.
Next speaker is Brian Wirtz.
Hello, Brian Wirtz. I hope you vote down Bill 204. A couple things. The first thing is the signatures that you got in your extra pamphlet should be invalidated and thrown out. As it states here, this is incorporated St. Louis County. This bill does not even pertain to incorporated, it's unincorporated. So please ignore those signatures as you see people in support of this. Now on the signatures page you say, the bill will give St. Louis County the right to evict a resident for a felony. Wholeheartedly. St. Louis County, you take care of it. It's your problem. It's the court system. You guys are responsible for dealing with these felonies, not us landlords. So please do what they say here. I agree. Now, going back to what my actual notes were, was the fines that you lay out in this bill are $1,000 to a year in jail for every day the property's in violation. The director is given the sole discretion of the penalty. I'm not judged by my peers in the court of law. So how can you help ensure that a single person, no matter how good they are, is able to be perceived as impartial and not doing favoritism? So, and if I take this and look at it in context, a DUI, I looked up, the first offense of a DUI in Missouri carries no mandatory period of incarceration, but the court has the power to incarcerate for 6 months and up to $500 in fees. So you're now saying that by me not evicting somebody out of a house is worse than getting a DUI. Let's put it in perspective. Now, going to the next piece. So Prosecutor Attorney McCullough said this bill gives all kinds of rights to the Public Works Director, who now has more power in my business than I do.
Thank you, sir.
Speaker is Delina Jones, followed by Kathy Davis.
Good evening, my name is Delina Jones, 220 Falcon Drive, and I vote no, and I hope everyone else do. I'm not only a North County resident in Florissant, I'm also a Ferguson business owner who has been affected by some of these devastations that would happen if you pass this. Unfortunately, most people in the community cannot come because they work 1 or more 2 jobs, have to take care of their children, and this is some of the outcomes of living in poverty or not living up to certain standards of society. This bill would not only cause more of a reaction from what we had last year in Ferguson and North County, because it did not move to Baldwin, Clayton, or Wildwood, or any of these other areas where people in business who live there were not affected. This bill would not only cause devastation, depression, it would deprive most of the North County residents who just so happen to have a high range of Black American, African American, people of color, whatever we want to call them. I myself, I rent and live in Florissant, and thanks to having a small business owner that is a landlord, I was able to work with them so that I could pay my rent, because unfortunately, I lost over $75,000 worth from just damages and income. I think that this bill would not only cause not just myself, but other business owners and residents of Ferguson, Dalewood, Riverview, Florissant, all these areas to lose more. And unfortunately, corporate and people of high-stake business do not have to feel that loss. And it's very unfortunate that we have to keep coming out for something like this. Thank you.
Speaker is Kathy Davis, followed by Melanie Claiborne.
Real briefly, the city of Florissant already has a rental license in place, and they actually have a fee on there. So there is something in place already in the city of Florissant for rental properties.
Kathy Davis, 1420 Strassner Drive. I have a law firm that represents housing providers, also known as landlords. I've been in this business for over 30 years. We have at least 1,000 landlord clients, if not more, and we've probably done over 30,000 evictions. This bill is not going to help you with the problems that you showed in the slideshow. It's not going to help you with the problems of vacant properties and the other problems that you have. Doing some research, we've learned that many federal district courts and at least 2 federal appellate circuits have struck down ordinances similar to this ordinance. I know that we already have plans, if you pass the ordinance, to use up a lot of time and money both of us and of St. Louis County, to go to court and have this ordinance stricken also. We have a great group of landlords, tenant advocates, and other people here who would like to help you, Councilman O'Meara, and all of the St. Louis County Council work on this. There are things that you can do to help housing providers and tenants do better, and there are things that you can do to help with the vacant properties. I would love to take you to an eviction docket. I'd love to sit down with you when I would have more than 2 minutes and tell you some of the things that I know about landlord-tenant law and about how evictions work. I would really not even charge you. That doesn't apply to the rest of you. So please, let's put this back on a positive note, and I'd ask you to consider that, table the bill for now, and meet with us. Thank you.
Melanie Claiborne, followed by Shannon Flood.
I'm Melanie Claiborne. I'm at 1255 St. Patrice Lane in Florissant, Missouri. And I want to also appeal to you to vote no. If this law is enacted, as we have heard, litigation will follow due to the fact that the contents are unlawful. They're not supported by previous laws and precedents already established. I would like to suggest you take the previous speaker up on her offer and get educated toward landlord and tenant laws. By the way, Mr. O'Meara, the pictures shown on the screen were vacant properties. They were not good examples of rented properties. No one lives in a property with all those notices on the door. Those are vacant properties, bank-owned properties. That was a bogus slideshow, and you made us watch it twice.
Actually, I deleted the names off the properties to protect the people out there. Now, if you want me to put the names up there on their name of the property, I can do that right now, but I'm not going to do that.
You're welcome to do so. I own 2 properties. I'm a single mom. And what you're telling me is if the elderly black lady in one of my properties allows her son to come live with her once he is released from prison, I could go to jail. I earn less than $50,000 a year. I have children. I could be jailed and charged $1,000 a day for not being aware that she let her son stay in her home. Who would not want their son to come home and try to give him a second chance? Yes, maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he got caught with drugs. Maybe he committed a crime, but you're still the mom and you still want to support your child. Thank you, women of the council, for voting no against this bill. Violations are the responsibility of the county, and drug use and law breaking are the responsibilities of the police.
Again, if county councilor could explain, if you have some, well, go ahead, explain
The scenario just described by the last speaker this bill has no impact on that. If she, as the landlord, permits her tenant to add to the tenancy, being the son coming out of the jail, that's perfectly legitimate, and this bill has no impact on that at all, none.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes.
To the county councilor. If, let's say the example that was just given, if that son then commits a felony, a drug possession felony in the property, in the rented property, then what happens?
Well, the landlord, if given notice by the director of that conviction by that occupant in that tenancy, has 30 days to initiate eviction proceedings.
So they would be required to evict?
The occupant, not the grandma,
Not the
mom.
tenant, but the occupant. Wait a minute. Mr. Chairman?
That's it.
Can I ask a moment?
All right, there's a this is the councilman's asking a question.
Under that scenario, the the person that committed the crime could be evicted. Now, what if that person is a
Evicted or
child?
subject to ejectment.
What if the person is a child? A
Person
minor,
who has just
a
come back
minor.
from prison?
What if,
juvenile
what
who
if they're a
come-
minor child? Could they be, could
Just
you?
came back from prison?
Yes.
have children.
Could they be evicted under the scenario that was just described?
If the child commits a felony, then the child, under that circumstance, would be asked to leave. But if the child is, I don't understand the circumstance, though. I've tried to address the hypothetical, Councilwoman, to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Shannon Flood. I live in Newtown, St. Charles. My family and I, we own several properties in unincorporated St. Louis County. We've owned 770 Bobbins Lane in Florissant since 1961, so we've been here a while. I really could say a lot, but I'm just going to point out some things I'd like you guys to know. First off, Jim spoke earlier. He's the president of the RIA meeting, and he had people from out of town last week. One of the persons was Vina Jones-Cox from Cincinnati, Ohio. She is a landlord, an investor, and she's got a radio show. She's very well known. And one thing she said is these type of laws, similar to what you are looking to pass right now, have been challenged in court and they lose. Now, as a landlord and doing it for many years and been robbed many times, I think I've had 6 copper cuttings in 5 years, and it hurts. But, and I agree, there are things that need to be done, but you need to realize that there is landlord-tenant law. Now, one of my attorneys who has assisted me and my family in evictions is Catherine Davis, who spoke a few speakers ago. I strongly suggest you do take her up and you do talk to her, you have meetings with her, and she will explain the landlord-tenant law process. Because you're passing bills on hypothetical and all kinds of other things that are not going to be, they're not going to hold up in court. And it's going to cost this county so much more money. I mean, we're not even a year after what happened in Ferguson. We don't need another black eye. The property value, I'm not done, hold on, come on, just one more. Property values have gone down significantly in the last several years. This is not going to help to bring them up. Thank you for your time tonight. And Mr. Stanger, congratulations on your election becoming county executive. Thank you.
Khalila Jackson, followed by Jerry Hopping.
Good evening, honorable council members. My name is Khalila Jackson. I'm the staff attorney at the Metropolitan St. Louis Equal Housing Opportunity Council. And I want to say that I assure you, as you've heard many times this evening, I oftentimes do not find myself on the other side. In fact, Matthew Chase and I are diametrically opposed in cases right now involving landlord-tenant law. So when I tell you that these issues are the coalition that we all have built here should raise the concerns and the council should listen. We have grave concerns today about the disparate impact that this ordinance poses on racial minorities. On its face, we know that racial minorities are more likely to be arrested and convicted for felonies in this country. And so on its face, the ordinance has a problem because of the mandate that people with the certain enumerated felonies be evicted. So that's a problem on its face under the Fair Housing Act. But beyond that, the ordinance, as Council Crane has explained, provides the director with unfettered discretion to decide when this is going to be applied and when it isn't going to be applied. Given the immense segregation in the St. Louis community, that in and of itself poses a risk of uneven enforcement. And that type of risk of uneven enforcement poses a violation under the Fair Housing Act. And as was mentioned by my colleague from the ACLU, in that event, the council has an obligation to ensure, under the affirmatively furthering fair housing requirements, that you all have looked and it's been deemed that there is no such impact on protected classes, and this bill does not meet that obligation. So I urge the council to once again not to pass this bill, to table it, to sit down with my organization and those that are present in the a forum today so that we can talk about how we can fix it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Hopping, followed by Martina Johnson.
My name is Jerry Hopping. I'm 11 Lone Eagle Trail. I am a real estate broker, a property manager, and a trustee of Glasgow Village. To actually start off with, limiting our speeches from 3 minutes to 2 minutes is basically a reflection of you want to get on with your business and you're stopping hearing from your constituents. I find that unfortunate. I won't talk about the evicting of one individual. Again, it goes to the fact that y'all haven't participated in that process and you haven't asked for the other side of the coin to help you guide through a law that basically is illegal, and you're asking us to do prosecutors and job and the judges because they failed. A lot of the residents in Glasgow Village as well, we wanted a bill that would address abandoned and derelict properties. This does not do it. We wanted a bill that addressed and made banks responsible for their properties. This does not do it. We wanted a guarantee of trash service because there's a trash issue up there. This bill does not do that. We wanted a legally sound bill. That would be a given. This is not that. And it would be nice if it actually encouraged good landlords. This does not. We actually tried to be part of this process. The owners, the investors, the landlords, real estate agents, we the people, your constituents, asked to participate in this process. We were denied. We made phone calls to you. You denied our calls. We asked for meetings. You denied those. We are the people. We are your constituents. I have emails from St. Louis Real Estate Association as well as St. Charles Real Estate Commission, all against this bill. Please vote against it.
Next speaker is Martina Johnson, followed by Joseph Ord.
Hello, members of St. Louis County Council. My name is Martina Johnson, and I'm the Government Affairs Director of St. Louis Association of Realtors. I'm here representing our 7,500 Realtor members. First, I'd like to thank Councilman O'Mara for taking the time to meet with me today to discuss Bill 3 for Bill 204. And I'd like to thank the County Council for listening to the concerns of our association at this time. Although we understand the absentee property owners and rampant property code violations that this bill was intended to address, we do have concerns over the burden shifting language in Section 825.400, the suspension and revocation section 2. We believe Bill 204 well exceeds the provisions of the Missouri statute from which it is being passed. Further, there's no practical application in the state eviction law to evict just one tenant on a lease, which makes the County Council's attempt to remedy this bill's potential effect on families and roommates moot. The licensure scheme also causes confusion and concern as outstanding St. Louis County municipal court fees, including unpaid traffic tickets, are cause for material misrepresentation on a rental license application. The Section 4 under 825-400 suspension and revocation implies that if a rental property owner did not realize or disclose unpaid traffic tickets or other municipal court fines on a rental license application, that their license could be suspended, prohibiting law-abiding tenants from occupying the property or renewing their lease, even if the property is in compliance with all property code maintenance issues. Finally, St. Louis Association of Realtors believes that additional licensure is unnecessary on real estate professionals and that the fear of violation fees or expensive eviction processes will lead to these expenses being passed on to the tenants. According to a 2014 study from the National Housing Conference Center for Housing Policy, in the St. Louis metropolitan area, 24% of renters spend at least half their income on housing. As an association, we cannot support a bill that reduces the amount of available affordable housing on the most housing cost burdened segment of our population. Thank you.
Next speaker is Joseph Ord, followed by Jim Heffernan.
Hello.
regarding the slideshow, you didn't have to spend a day and a half doing that. You could have called me. I would have given you all those pictures. They're all in my Dropbox folder because that's what they look like when I buy them. Then I put $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 in them, fixing them up, bring them to code. Have a code inspector come out and give me an occupancy permit. If those pictures were occupied and they got an occupancy permit before they moved in, who did that damage to the house? Was it the landlord or was it the tenant? Why is it the landlord's complete and total responsibility? Why are we taking all the onus off a tenant and putting it on the landlord? You can fine a tenant just as easily as you can fine a landlord.
Actually, the landlord was out the day before that picture was taken on that property. The one with the trash in the backyard and the side yard, that landlord was there to see it.
Time?
We'll give you extra time.
All right, well, you have trash codes in place. Enforce them. All right, you still got the 5+ unit exemption, which creates a dual standard. You can't have one set of tenants with more rights than another set of tenants, and that's what you're doing. You still give the Public Works Director complete and total discretion, too much room. We all know we're not stupid that he's going to walk in here and ask for a licensing fee as soon as this passes. Every legal person out here has told you that this will not withstand. So what's going to end up happening is we're just going to have a useless bill with a licensing fee and an extra layer of bureaucracy that does not accomplish a darn thing. Fail this. Let us come help you get real solutions. Okay? That landlord that was just out there with all that trash, I don't like him either. Let us help you with this. You're not letting us help you.
Next speaker is Jim Heffernan, followed by Paul Berry.
Good evening. I'm Jim Heffernan. I'm in the 3rd District. I want you to know that we can all tell a story about our horror tenant, because we've all had them. We spend a lot of money fixing up these houses, and there are times when you get a tenant in there who has an issue, maybe it's a health issue or whatever, and the house doesn't get the care that it needs. Now, physically, the house isn't bad. The list of issues that were on that list related to they didn't pay their gas bill, related to they didn't pay their trash bill. Now, as a landlord, I don't know, am I supposed to call and tell them that I found out they don't have their gas? How do I know that? All right? So I want to tell you that one of the houses you have on that list, 260 Shepley, is mine. And I've got lots of houses, and you found one where the tenant is the horror. She's my horror tenant. Now, she's on oxygen, she has 3 children, and she has issues. Now, I didn't go throw her out yet. The county has now hung an order to vacate on this door. I'm game, but the poor lady doesn't have a place to go. What do I do with this tenant? I don't want my house in bad shape. She's tore it up. She hasn't, the kid has. The kids have, because she's bedridden on oxygen. I don't know as a landlord what I'm supposed to do. I don't want the tenant. We can go 2 doors down and look at one of my houses and it's pristine because the client is excellent. And I spend a lot of time and a lot of money bringing these houses up. And you found one that's horrible, who didn't pay her trash bill. And I don't know these things. I don't live there. So I don't have any way of saying, you know what, she didn't pay her gas bill, she didn't pay her trash. And they don't call you and say, oh, by the way, hey, Jeff, I didn't pay my trash bill, I didn't pay my gas bill. They don't tell me these things. And I don't want the trash and the horror and the no gas any more than you want it. All right, I'm telling you today, we need to fix this, and the bill, as it is right now, doesn't solve it.
Well,
That's it.
if she's in need, why don't you help her pick up her trash then, instead of just leaving it there?
You want me personally to go pick up her trash? First off, I didn't know she had trash
property.
behind the house. When I went to visit her, it related to the fact that she's on oxygen, and I didn't walk in the backyard. I didn't know she was throwing the trash out back. So I didn't see it. I did see a mess in the house, but you don't want me to go in and mop their floors, do you?
I'm not asking you to go in the house.
You're not asking me to do those things, right? So
Plain as
I
daylight
see
to
the
walk around
situation,
the
and
side of
I'm
your
on your
yard.
team. I don't know what to do with her. She's an issue. She's got an order to vacate now.
Pick up the trash service.
What?
Pick up the trash service.
I already did. You call right now, that trash service is on. I already took care of
Well,
that.
it should have never been like that.
Well, do you want me to pay for a trash service up front? I just want you to know, I'm here for the tenant, and I'm here for your problem. I want to solve it as much as you do.
And I know you do have good properties.
I do have
you
great properties. Okay? Thank you. Thanks for the extra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Paul Berry, followed by Greg Porter.
No sense in going over the principles of the bill because you guys keep cutting around the crust with these little answers that we're given. Apparently, Councilman O'Mara wants to kidnap us in his DeLorean and take us back to the 50s. The 50s was a time where we had segregation within our municipalities and in our judicial system. That time's not here anymore. I, at first, when I came last week, did not question whether this bill was racially motivated in any fashion whatsoever. Because I look at you guys as our elected officials, but there is bad policy here. So instead of taking a bunch of time to talk about the bill, let's talk about what's occurred and what's going to happen. What has occurred is we have a situation where there's a belief that you can out-regulate or regulate ourselves into success. We have issues with not being able to pay your bills, having high rental rates. These are things that are established by jobs, and you're not going to create some quick fix, one-shot bill. So let's talk about the future. If you guys pass this bill, you will be sued. You guys have received, I'm sure, letters all week from attorneys and only one or two from a South County firm that supports you. You not had one person support this bill except one nice, sweet lady that probably makes great cookies, but didn't discuss the bill at all. You will be sued. That's number one. Number two, the federal government will get involved with the Fair Housing Act and disparate impact related to criminal convictions in these issues. Please listen. Have the guts to say, you know what? Maybe this isn't right. It's not an ego thing. These people put you in office. Remember that. Politically, I can tell you, Councilman O'Mara, this is the gift that keeps on giving. I would hope that the bill passed for political reasons, but as a citizen, it's a bad bill. And I'm going to move off from O'Mara, Dolan, Page. We have an opportunity here for you guys to do the right thing. Show me leadership, make me wrong.
Next speaker is Greg Porter, followed by Donna Valentine.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Greg Porter of number 6 Crookham Court, Florissant, Missouri, 63033, which is located in the 4th Council District in unincorporated North St. Louis County. I'm the president of the Paddock Forest Residents Association Incorporated and the chairman of the North St. Louis County Problem Solving Committee. I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of the Paddock Forest Residents Association Incorporated, the North St. Louis County Problem Solving Committee, and the numerous North County residents who are in support of the final passage of Substitute Bill Number 3 for Bill Number 204, now that the subject bill has been reworked with regard to final passage. For the past few weeks, I have watched the county council meetings on YouTube, and I have reviewed the transcripts of the county council journals. In watching the meetings and reviewing the transcripts, I have observed numerous individuals speak in opposition to this bill, some of whom are rental owner properties, owners and property managers that appear to be responsible landlords. However, there are many irresponsible property owners who have not appeared to speak, most likely because they want to keep a very low profile and remain under the radar. These types of absentee property owners do not want to be held accountable for their properties or for any problems that their tenants may cause, and they have no regard for the preservation of the neighborhoods of which they are contributing to the decline thereof. Apparently, these types of absentee property owners care only about making money. Substitute Bill Number 3 for Number 204 is needed in unincorporated St. Louis County in order to curtail the continued decline of neighborhoods that are quickly becoming known as rental cities, especially in those areas where there are smaller starter types of homes in aging neighborhoods. The city of Florissant, as Councilman O'Mara has said, already has a similar ordinance in place, and I'm told by their Problem Properties Code Enforcement Officer that it's working very effectively. And also, University City has an ordinance that requires the licensing of all owners of rental property. As you are probably aware, all of the county council members live in municipalities with the exception of Councilmember O'Leary and his predecessor, County Executive Stinger. The point is that alder members in municipalities tend to pay very close attention to what is going on.
Thank you.
Final speaker this evening is Donna Valentine.
She doesn't, looks like she's waving.
No more speakers, Mr. Chair.
Okay, that will conclude the public forum. Introduction of bills, please.
Yes, sir. Bill number 255, introduced by Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant of up to $744,989 from the Department of Justice, appropriating the same for support of police officers assigned to the collaborative model to combat human trafficking program and related expenses, and authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents. Bill number 256, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to accept a grant of up to $1,300 from the St. Louis Regional Arts Commission, appropriating the same for support of a mural to be painted on a facade of the County Youth Center in Spanish Lake, authorizing execution of related documents. Bill number 257, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara, an ordinance declaring the public necessity of providing for the establishment of a public park and recreation facility site consisting of approximately 0.33 acres in close proximity to Spanish Lake Park, authorizing acquisition of the land and authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents. Bill number 258, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara, an ordinance declaring the public necessity of and providing for the establishment of a public park and recreation facility site consisting of approximately 0.15 acres in close proximity to Spanish Lake Park, authorizing acquisition of the land and authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents. Bill number 259, introduced by Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a contract with Central Bank of St. Louis for purchasing card and accounts payable card services. Bill number 260, introduced by Councilmember Wassinger, an ordinance amending ordinance number 26,009 by repealing and reenacting Section 2 pertaining to PC 30-14, John P. King. Bill number 261, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary, an ordinance amending the St. Louis County zoning ordinance and zoning district maps by changing the boundaries of the C2 shopping district and the C8 planned commercial district, and approving the application and preliminary plans as amended for the development in the C8 planned commercial district of attractive land subject to conditions, PC 16-15, Lead Ventures 2 LLC. Bill number 262, introduced by Councilmember Dolan, an ordinance amending Chapter 810, Title 8, St. Louis County Revised Ordinances 1974 as amended fireworks by repealing and reenacting Sections 810.015, 810.030, and 810.050, and enacting one new section, 810.035, each pertaining to regulating the sale, possession, and use of fireworks. Bill number 263, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance authorizing St. Louis County, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial revenue bonds, Worldwide Technology Personal Property Project, Series 2015, in a principal amount not to exceed $15 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay the costs of equipping an industrial development project in the county, approving a plan for the project, amending the performance agreement relating to the county's taxable industrial revenue bonds, Worldwide Technology Incorporated Project, Series 2012, and authorizing the county executive and director of administration to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection therewith. Mr. Chair, that is all the bills.
Thank you. Introduction of bills.
Bill number 8, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara.
Hold, please.
Bill number 8 is held.
Bill number 246, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move to perfect Bill number 246.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 246 is perfected.
Bill number 247, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move to perfect Bill number 247.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 247 is perfected.
Bill number 248, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move to perfect Bill number 248.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 248 is perfected.
Bill number 249, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
Move to perfect Bill number 249.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 249 is perfected.
Bill number 250, introduced by Councilmember Erby.
I move to perfect Bill number 250.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 250 is perfected.
Bill number 251, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary.
I move to perfect Bill number 251.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 251 is perfected.
Bill number 252, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move to perfect Bill number 252.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 252 is perfected.
Bill number 253, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move to perfect Bill number 253. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 253 is perfected.
Bill number 254, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary.
I move to perfect Bill number 254.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 254 is perfected. Final passage of bills.
Bill number 52, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
Please hold Bill number 252, and that will be the order.
Bill number 116, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
Please hold Bill number 116, and that will be the order.
Substitute Bill number 3 for Bill number 204, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara.
I'd like to take up substitute Bill number 3 for Bill number 204 for final passage.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby?
No.
Councilmember Page?
Yes.
Councilmember Wassinger?
No.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Yes.
Councilmember Dolan?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Harder?
I would like to make a comment at this time on this bill and the process that was used to pass it. First, after hearing from over 60 citizens on this issue, most of them asked to be heard. I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone that I asked for a committee hearing on this bill for those very reasons over 6 weeks ago. My request was denied twice in the same meeting. There are over 60 citizens represent the true cross-section of our county. What does this say about my fellow council members who voted yes on this? That so many groups who normally are on different sides of pressing issues are in fact unified against this bill. What does it say to the people of the county that their voices have been so cavalierly ignored? What does it say that this has generated more outcry than any issue since Ferguson? This is the wrong solution to the wrong problem. Due process, individual liberty, property rights, and most of all the rights of the people are the casualties here tonight of this bill. My questions are these. Why the full court press? Why is this so important now? And are there not more pressing issues before our county? I believe that there are, in fact. As strongly as I can, I am voting no.
Substitute Bill number 3 for number 204 is finally passed.
Bill number 235, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move for final passage of Bill number 235.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 235, there are 7 ayes.
Number 235 is finally passed.
Bill number 236, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
Move for final passage of Bill number 236.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 236, there are 7 ayes.
All right. If you, I understand you're leaving, if you would mind the respect for the people who are staying, if you please leave quietly, thank you. Bill number 236 is finally passed.
Bill number 237, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move for final passage of Bill number 237.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 237, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 237 is finally passed.
Bill number 238, introduced by Councilmember Erby.
I move for final passage of bill number 238.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 238, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 238 is finally passed.
Bill number 239, introduced by Councilmember O'Meara.
I'd like to take it up, move for final passage Bill number 239.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 239, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 239 is finally passed.
Bill number 240, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move for final passage of bill number 240. Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 240, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 240 is finally passed.
Bill number 241, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move for final passage of bill number 241. Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 241, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 241 is finally passed.
Bill number 242, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
Move for final passage of bill number 242. Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 242, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 242 is finally passed.
Bill number 243, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary.
I move for final passage of bill number 243.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 243, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 243 is finally passed.
Bill number 244, introduced by Councilmember O'Leary.
I move for final passage of bill number 244.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 244, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 244 is finally passed.
Bill number 245, introduced by Councilmember Wassinger.
I move for final passage of bill number 245.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 245, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 245 is finally passed.
Moving on to resolutions, we have 4 this evening, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 1, introduced by Councilmembers O'Leary and Dolan.
I move for final adoption of resolutions number 1 through 4.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Wassinger?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Meara?
Aye.
Councilmember Dolan?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Leary?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on resolutions number 1 through 4, there are 7 ayes.
Resolutions 1 through 4 are adopted.
Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Chair, item number 1, 6th District.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 2, 3rd District.
Hold on the order of business, please.
So ordered.
Item number 3, 4th District.
Receive, file, and expansion of premises be approved as requested.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And moving on to new business, Mr. Chair, we have 2 prepared orders this
Move for
evening.
adoption of orders 1 and 2.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes, orders 1 and 2 are adopted.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.